and welcome to the Marvelously Morbid Podcast. I'm Sylvia.
And I'm Matissa.
And how are you guys? Who are you? Tell us who you are. Write us. Facebook us. But anyway, I hope you all have been enjoying the regular episodes that we've been putting up now. I'm sorry I'm in a creaky chair and I was just checking the light.
Oh,
so
no,
if it sounds like the background
now.
is a haunted house, then it's just the creaky chair.
But last time we had it turned the other way. Do you see now we're going to have to lean over and stare the whole time?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. It's fine. I can do it and it's not, you can barely hear me moving.
Everything's going to be fine.
Look, can you hear? Not really. I'm doing it. It's still on.
You sound good still.
Okay.
You sound like a beautiful angel. And Matissa's chair is not that creaky. We have a third chair that's really creaky that we tried to sit in. But let me tell you the significance of the very creaky chair. I'm in the moderately creaky one.
Yeah, this one I tried to sit in it last time and the arm fell off and we're like, no. So I had to get one from the kitchen.
It's the worst chair, but it's the first chair I bought after I graduated college. And I just did the smacking my lips thing, and Ashley's going to kill me.
I'm counting one.
My sister's going to kill me. That's one. I get 3 strikes, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, the creaky chairs, I bought it directly out of college. I had nothing. Just got an apartment, and we basically sat the chair in it. My roommate at the time, Bridget, neither of us really had anything, but we had that chair.
You had each other?
We had each other. As long as we've got each other. That's all I'll do. I don't even know
what
what
song?
It is. It's the theme song of something. Baby, rain or shine, all the time. Da-da-da-da. What is that? Okay, somebody please tell us what that is, or Matissa can look it up.
I'm going to ask Google.
It's definitely a theme song to something. I don't know.
Let's do theme song. What'd you say, rain or shine?
As long as we've got each other.
Oh, I guess I could just do that.
We've got the world standing right on our something, baby, rain or shine, all the time. That is, maybe it's not a thing.
Growing Pains.
Growing Pains, okay.
I did watch that show, but I don't remember the song.
I was starting to think that I made that up.
You did.
I was like, wait a minute, have I made up? I'm sitting on a gold mine over here.
Turn off the podcast. We got to go record this song.
Yeah, we've got to record this song that I just completely made up. Except I didn't.
Growing Pains.
It's Growing Pains. All right. Well, as long as we've got each other. Growing Pains, the story of my life.
Yeah.
So I went to get my stuff from my old job today.
How was that?
It was fine. I only talked to one girl there because I don't know. I love the people I worked with, but I felt really anxious today, so I'd like to see them in a better mood. Yeah. But yeah, it made me really anxious, but it was totally fine. And then we went and got donuts.
Oh, and that made it.
Yeah, and that made it better. Mm-hmm. If you haven't tried, if you're from Lexington, Kentucky, or any of the surrounding counties or areas, you have to try North Lime Coffee and Donuts. They're delicious. They're not sponsoring this podcast. I always feel like I say that like, okay, let's get real here. We don't have any sponsors yet. So if we're talking about something, they aren't sponsoring
I like
us.
that you said yet. That you're being very optimistic.
I am. I'm feeling cautiously optimistic. That could be the title of my book. Cautiously Optimistic. Yes. The Sylvia Gross story. Except I'll have to change my last name. No, but anyway, what have you been up to? You got some awesome sweaters today. We're shopping clearance sales.
Yeah, I did because I always wear winter clothes.
Mm-hmm. Even in summer?
So Sylvia has on like a tank top with her bra hanging out, and I'm wearing a turtleneck, a sweater.
The boobs are hanging out.
They're coming out.
Yeah, Matissa is wearing a turtleneck. A mock turtleneck.
Yeah, maybe. And got my wool socks on. I'm ready.
You're ready to party.
What did I do? Oh, yesterday, I think we've talked about this before, talking about our fears on one of our question and answer episodes.
Probably.
I had a run-in with 2 of my biggest fears yesterday. Oh, no. I had to get on an elevator twice, so that was awful. Going to the doctor. Like, you have to take the elevator to the 2nd floor. I'm like, I know there's a stairwell around here.
Wow. But you had...
You have to take the elevator.
Well, everything's okay. You're here. You got on and off.
I did, but
Did you?
just the thought of it,
Panic?
even the next, I didn't panic, but like, I
that's
think about it for
good.
hours before. I'm just like, oh, and I'm like, it's an elevator, and I'm freaked out about it. What is wrong with me?
Well, I think maybe we just need to put you in a lot of elevators.
No.
I don't know. Isn't that a thing? Facing your fear? Like, I'm afraid of spiders, so I should hold a spider.
I'm gonna go find one and throw it on you.
Okay.
There were so many out. I was sitting outside yesterday because it was warmer, and there's spiders and bees and waspers. I say wasper, but
Yeah,
I don't
we
know
say
if anyone's gonna
waspers.
know what that is. Wasps.
In eastern Kentucky, they aren't called wasps. They're called waspers.
Yeah, Dagan said wasps yesterday, and I was like, "You mean wasper?"
Yeah.
He's like,
What are you trying to say, fancy man?
Yeah, you're from Eastern Kentucky too, fancy man. Looking down on
Dagan
me.
trying to act like he's all high and mighty. You think you're better than me?
You're not. And then a snake. Why?
Yeah, you told me that your dog pounced on a snake.
Yeah,
Did she just pound it to death, or was it
No,
still
that's
alive?
usually what she likes to do. She loves to attack. She was after a bumblebee at first, and she was, growling. I was like, is there a cat on the garage? Because there is one. But no, it was
Just getting my drink.
fucking bumblebee. She's biting at it, growling, just going insane, and then
And
that
then
passed. And then I stepped over the snake apparently, and then I turned around and she was like going after it and taking her little hand. She's really good with her stupid
she's really
hands.
tactile.
Dexterous. I don't know. It's scary, and she was just smacking it. And I got her inside because it freaked me out because it was
Yeah.
And of course later she's after it again, and so we're gonna. Leaves, and she's just jumping on it, which I've seen her do. She does it to like possums. I've seen her attack possums, which is so sad because I love possums, but she just like jumps and takes both of her front little paws and
I wish you could see what Matissa's doing right now. It's so cute.
because Margot's so cute.
She is so cute.
And
She's
so
a vicious
vicious.
killer.
She is.
She's trying to
born
save
killer.
you
I
from the
know.
snake.
It's sweet, isn't it?
And like, here was me all day, and you were like, oh yeah, she was attacking a snake, and I was like, oh yeah, she killed a snake. And then it occurred to me you may need help, like several hours later. And then I was like, wait a minute, was Matissa hinting that she needed help? And I just
Because I
ignored her?
swear it was like this exact time last year. So it was beginning of April when I lived with Chris. Well,
Our
Chris's,
other friend.
Yeah, which a cat.
Yeah, our other friend's cat got a snake, brought
yesterday.
a dead snake into
She
her
lives right
yesterday.
up the street from me, so I don't know if there's snakes running wild in the
Lexington is infested with snakes.
the north side is full of snakes, so look
Snake
out.
City!
But this time last year, I just got home. I lived with Chris. I was letting our dogs out, and I just left the door open, and a fucking snake just slithered in toward me.
Oh, yeah.
And I just
And you
started
threw a
screaming.
chair
I
at
threw
it,
a
didn't
chair at it. I just panicked.
I mean, if anything will get a snake, it's throwing a chair at it.
You don't understand
I
how
know.
scared I am of them. And I just started texting everyone I knew, like, help me, please.
And
I
then
don't know, so many people
you
were like,
never found it either. You never found that snake.
No,
but
we didn't
Chris
find
has moved since then. So she didn't find any snake remnants. It must have just slithered back out.
ugh, why'd you
It
have to
probably
say that?
slithered-
Stop saying that.
Okay, it probably walked in.
There. Made its way
It
out.
probably made its way
Thank
in
you.
and got the chair thrown at it, and then it was like, oh shit, and then it made its way out.
Yeah.
In a non-snake way.
Thank you.
It just moved like one of those moving sidewalks at the airport. Just 1 second, it was out.
Ugh.
But speaking of animals, we've got our kitty in here. My cat is in here chilling. We're going to post a picture of her on Instagram because she looked so cute. And Matissa called her the podcast.
She's the podcast.
So she's our podcast.
Because she
Our
was in the middle of
podcast
all
us
of our,
today.
3 pieces of equipment.
Yeah. Our 3 pieces of crazy high-tech
Let's
equipment.
make sure it's still red and it's counting. So
It's red and counting.
keep an eye
It's
on
good
it.
enough for me. What else? Oh yeah, Patreon. We're gonna start a series on Patreon. Probably take a couple weeks to get it up and running because I know us, and that's
what's going to happen?
that's what's gonna happen. But eventually, we're gonna have a side series called Morbid Ramblings, and we will talk about literally anything. Not literally. We're not gonna talk about
No.
fiercely private things, but we'll talk about any topic. We may review movies. We may, who knows what we might do.
We don't know.
But anyway, to get access to that, that'll be for our Patreon supporters. I think you'll only have to donate 50 cents a month if you want, or $1 a month, $12 a year, and you'll have access to a little side series that may or may not be entertaining. We'll see. But, yeah, so that's patreon.com/marvelously morbid. Follow us on Facebook, Marvelously Morbid, Instagram, Marvelously Morbid, Twitter. I still didn't look at what our name is. I think it's... You know what? Let me just...
You just do it.
Why don't I just check and see what our Twitter name is right now? Because clearly I can't be trusted to remember. We're Marvelously Morbid on everything but Twitter. And on
it's not?
Twitter, we are Marv Morbid.
Marv?
It was too many. Yeah.
Is there an E in there, or M-A-R-V?
No, it's Marv. Marv Morbid. Like the worst name in history. Like an old man.
Marv.
Old Marv. Down the street. He's awful morbid. But yeah, Marv Morbid on Twitter. Marvelously Morbid on everything else. Also, like, subscribe, share. You know the spiel. I don't have to do it a million times. So, anyway, let me just get into our topic for this episode. And it's going to be the death of River Phoenix. And you know who River Phoenix is?
Yes.
Just if you don't, River Phoenix was an actor. He was a very up-and-coming, I guess you would say, actor in the 90s. He was in Stand By Me. He was in, what else was he in? Running on Empty. He was in a lot of movies. My Own Private Idaho, and he was actually nominated for some awards for that. So he was a very talented young man. And he was actually born River Bottom. His last name was Bottom. Can you imagine? River Bottom.
River Bottom.
But his siblings also had some crazy names. His sister is named Rainbow, and his brother, you all may know from movies like Walk the Line and something else that I just can't remember.
Earthlings. Didn't he direct that?
Well, Joaquin Phoenix is who I'm getting at. Yeah, his brother Joaquin. He has some other siblings named Liberty and Summer, so they just all had very earthy names, except Joaquin. I don't know, where in the world did that come from? I don't know. They're like, let's have some kids and name them Rain and River and Liberty and Summer and Joaquin. But anyway.
Was he the youngest?
I don't...
Joaquin? Would that be why they were just like, I don't know.
He was one of the younger ones. He definitely was younger than River. I don't know. I don't really know how.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, I was
didn't
just wondering
research
if
that
they
much.
got tired of the earthy names and like, we're going to name him this.
Well, River's Phoenix.
River's Bottoms.
River's Bottoms. River Phoenix's parents were actually in a cult called Children of God when they were little. But the cult got... Brace yourselves, guys. The cult got weird. I know you don't expect for a cult to get weird, but they got, like, sexually weird and wanted parents to, like, have sex in the bed with their kids and all this crazy stuff. So his parents left the cult.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, they left the cult. And they came back to America. I can't remember where they were at in the cult. Chile? I may have made that up. I probably did. But anyway, they were in another country in a cult. And then they came back to America and they didn't really have any way to support themselves. They had been in a cult for several years. So, their kids begged for money and just, they did anything they could to make money. And River got into acting. So he was actually supporting his entire family with his acting career. His real passion was music. He loved music, but I don't know, he stumbled into acting and it paid the bills, and that's good enough. So he was a really nice, sweet guy. He was very sensitive. He was a vegan. He was big into animal rights and human rights. He was just a really nice guy all around. But sometime during the course of his acting career, he got into drugs. And on the set of his last movie, he really didn't get along with one of his female co-stars. And so he started doing drugs a lot more and it just kind of got out of hand. And the last day in the movie, and let me see what the name of that movie is, because I'm not positive. Like, I want to say what it was, but I don't want to be wrong. Oh, Dark Blood. Okay, so that is what I was ankling toward. It's called Dark Blood, and the last day he had a sex scene with the female actor. I'm not going to name any names. You can look it up. I'm not going to call anybody out for being a bitch or anything.
I need to know, so I'm going to look it up now.
Yeah. Yeah, so he finished a sex scene with the actress that he just did not like. And it was a tough day. After the credits cut, I heard one of the people that worked on the film said that the camera kept rolling and it just enveloped Phoenix in like light, the background light, and he just looked pensive and sad.
It says 2012. I'm sorry. I'm looking up the movie. Was it not released?
No, it wasn't released until 2012, yeah. It was actually filmed in 1993. Her name was Judy something. The lady that he didn't like. But anyway, so the movie wrapped and everything was fine. He went back to Los Angeles where his brother Joaquin and his sister Rainbow, and his girlfriend at the time, Samantha Mathis, who is also an actress. I mean, she's still an actress. I think she was in several movies in the 90s. But anyway, he was looking forward to a night with them. They rented a hotel room and they were just going to kind of party. And, oh, my alarm's going off on my phone. I was like, what's happening here? But yeah, they were just going to kind of party, and River was really looking forward to that night because they were going to Johnny Depp's bar, the Viper Room, and River was going to be able to get on stage and play with one of his best friends, Flea, from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Johnny. Sorry, I was scratching my nose, and I had a issue. But, yeah, so they partied for a while in the hotel room, and then they went down to the Viper Room. And there are a couple conflicting reports here. I have heard that Flea told him that he wasn't going to be able to get on stage for whatever reason, so then River decided to get super, super high. But I've also heard that he was already super high, and that's why Flea wouldn't let him get on stage with him. So I couldn't figure out which one was right. I mean, I don't know that anybody will ever know. But the bottom line is, he was not going to be able to get on stage. And he was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to get really, really, really high. So he walked around the club looking for a dealer, someone to give him something. And he finally found one, went to the bathroom, and snorted what was later revealed to be a speedball. So a mixture of cocaine and heroin, an upper and a downer, which apparently when it works well, you feel great. But when it doesn't, you die. So it's kind of, the speedball is kind of a risky, don't do them. Okay? Please don't do speedballs.
Don't do drugs.
But almost immediately, he realized that he had taken too much and stumbled out of the bathroom saying, some people say he was mumbling like, too much, too much, too much. But of course, those are just witness accounts. But clearly he knew something wasn't right. He didn't feel good. He started throwing up. And he went back to the booth where Rain and Joaquin and Samantha were sitting. And they didn't really know what he had done. They didn't realize that he had just went and snorted a fatal amount of drugs. They just thought that, maybe he was feeling a little bad. So they sat around for about 45 minutes, and then it became clear that he was not doing well at all. Like, he could barely function. So they took him outside to get some fresh air. And when they got out there, he started seizing. And Joaquin actually called the police, and we'll play part of that in a little bit. But he called the police and, basically just said that he was having seizures, that police didn't know what was happening. And at that time, news of the event had gotten to Flea and Johnny Depp. Their band stopped playing, and Flea ran out to his friend. And actually, when the ambulance got there, I think it was like 4 minutes, Flea demanded to go with him in the ambulance. So he actually rode to the hospital with him, but of course there was nothing that could have been done. He died at a little after 1 in the morning. And, yeah, that's how he died. And, Johnny Depp actually closed the Viper Room. This was on Halloween also when he died. So imagine a scene of famous actor lying on the sidewalk, seizing, and there are all these people around in Halloween costumes, and no one knows what's going on. That would not be a good way to go. And then Joaquin's there freaking out because he was a teenager. River was only 23 when he died.
So how long was it after that he'd taken the drugs that he died?
I think about 45 minutes. So the really sad thing is that he would have lived, but nobody knew what he did. For one thing, like, they didn't know that he just went in the bathroom and did that. They just thought maybe he was just fucked up because they were partying that night. But yeah, Yeah, so it's a pretty sad story. I mean, he was an amazing actor in person, and then he died on the sidewalk, surrounded by people in Halloween costumes.
Ugh.
Yeah. So not a good way to go. But after that, Johnny Depp closed the bar every year on Halloween to commemorate him. But yeah, it's pretty sad story. Mm-hmm. But, you know, he lives on in his films and everything. If you haven't seen Stand By Me or My Own Private Idaho, they're really great movies. And Joaquin is doing really well now. People thought he went off the rails a while back, but he was just recording a mockumentary. So he's fine. He's doing okay.
I forgot about that. That was several years ago,
that
wasn't it?
Wild. But anyway, I'm going to play you some of this 911 call.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is it bad?
It's not
they
great.
Make me. Okay.
Alright, so the voice that you hear will be Joaquin.
Seizures on Sunset and Larrabee, please come here. Okay, calm down a little bit, okay? What's the address where you need it? It's Sunset and Larrabee. It's at the Viper Room. Okay, what's the address, sir? Do you know? What's the address of the f***ing club? Okay, sir? Sir, calm down a little bit, okay? I'm sorry, it's my brother. Please come here. How old is he? He's 23. Calm down, okay? If you can't calm down, give the phone to somebody else. No, there's no one else around. Okay. I'm fine. You know, I think he had Valium or something. I don't know. Who's with him right now? My sister, the people. Okay, can you talk to her from where you are? God, are you trying to give him mouth to mouth? Sir, calm down. Tell her not to give him mouth to mouth. Don't give him mouth to mouth, you only give him mouth to mouth if he's not breathing. What's he doing? Just seems like he's sleeping right now? Yeah, he just looks like he's sleeping. Okay, that's very normal, okay? Yeah? That's very normal. Sometimes, in fact, sometimes they do actually go to sleep. If he goes into another seizure, okay, and sometimes they do that, just let him have a seizure. Don't try and restrain him, all right? Well, what about putting my hand in his mouth? Do not put nothing in his mouth. Okay. Okay? He will not swallow his tongue. Okay. Believe me. Okay. You just let him go ahead and have a seizure. Paramedics are on their way. They should be there shortly.
So yeah, I know. Isn't that so? He's a teenager and he doesn't know what's happening, and it's an awful story.
That guy was a jerk and kept telling him to calm down.
Yeah, if
my brother's dying, you twat. Like, what is that?
Like, what the hell? If you can't calm down, give the phone to someone who can.
I don't know. He wasn't. You could totally understand what he was saying.
He was upset, which anyone would be. But yeah, that's a good PSA for seizures. Never stick your fingers in their mouth, and don't give them mouth to mouth.
No.
But, of course, with his, that wasn't just a seizure, it was an overdose. But, yeah, that's the story of River Phoenix. But if you want some good to come out of it, watch his brother's films also, Joaquin's. He's an awesome, awesome actor. And he's an activist also. So
yeah, that's what the movie, I think it's Earthlings, which I've never watched, because anyone says if you watch it, you will definitely become a vegan, because it's that troubling. I'm a vegetarian, and I already feel guilt about things, so I can't handle watching it. But yeah, you said he was a vegan, so yeah, Joaquin's a vegan too.
Joaquin's a vegan too, yeah. So their whole family, but yeah, so their family is supported now still. Joaquin's very successful, and it's a really sad story, but just go watch some of River's films, Joaquin's films.
And don't take drugs from strangers.
Strangers.
That's why I'm so paranoid of everything. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad I don't do drugs, and I would never just go up and take drugs from a random person, because I'm so afraid. I have such horrible anxiety, it would prevent me from doing.
Yeah, you won't take anything.
I won't take anything.
Except your meds that you're supposed to take.
Oh, I am taking my meds.
Yeah, she is.
I really am. You're looking at me like,
I know.
Are you taking them?
I trust
Yes,
you.
I am. I'm taking my meds.
Take good drugs, not bad drugs.
No.
Well, that's the episode for tonight. I wish we could get our little podcast kitty to say something.
Podcat,
cute.
wake up, her little tails.
I know,
Podcat. Might get us if I try to wake her up.
Hey, Podcat. Let's see what this happens. I'm just going to reach for it.
Like,
and it scared Matissa to death.
She scares me.
Alrighty, say something.
Oh, did you hear that? She did.
She sounded so sweet.
Okay,
She's the devil. But anyway.
We'll leave you alone.
Thank you, Artie. And we'll try to do better next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.